for your homecoming and treat you well, and treat you well. And also prevent those who may want to take advantage of coming home. If they have other intentions, we prevent them from coming. So I know we have some administrative and procedural issues we are dealing with gradually, and we'll straighten up that space to make sure we make it much easier for anybody visiting Kenya to come freely and also live freely when it is their time to go to other destinations. PSs who are here, PS Raymond for internal security, PS Bitok, affairs, our brother PS from Tanzania, responsible for trade, the DG for immigration, our subnational security officials, regional commissioners, police commanders, county commissioners, civil society organizations who are represented here, members of the press who continue patriotic duty of informing agency or body is to oversight the multiple agencies that are involved in border control and management, and also to formulate and oversee implementation of the laws and policies in place, create efficiency for trade facilitation and the movement of people. And therefore, the question that lingers is how do we move this coordination? And I see that is the theme of this conference, towards integration. There are, of course, a number of challenges in this endeavor to coordinate border management and control programs. And the first one is the changing nature and the changing definition of the border. As you're aware, ladies and gentlemen, delegates, the border is the place where countries exercise their territorial control and jurisdiction. It is the place where compliance to the country's security, health, agriculture, trade, and other laws take place. It is the place where compliance is assessed and enforced. However, the concept of the border has changed, qualitatively speaking, because today, while the physical border still exists, there is also the virtual border, which has brought its own complications and has become even more critical to manage and control, even more than the physical border. So as we struggle in harnessing our efforts to control and manage the physical border, we are confronted with the virtual border, which is giving us even more complications. As you're aware, traditionally we have always looked at our national borders in terms of the airspace, the sea, and also the land territorial boundary. But the fourth space, with mainly which has come as a result of technology and convergence of the digital and technology space, has presented the cyberspace as the fourth frontier of the nation's vulnerability in terms of security. So even as we struggle with the physical border, we need to increasingly look at how we coordinate our activities to protect our virtual borders. The second challenge, of course, is how to manage non-intentional risks, because Traditionally, the border control management has been focused on intentional risks where people who are either criminals or dealing with illicit goods want to access the territory unlawfully against the law. But we have cases of non-intentional risks of people who pose a risk to the country through inadvertent and unknowing, unknown to them, and this is more so in areas like biosecurity, where people access the territory, but they are already exposed to biosecurity threats, and it's not intentional that they are in that situation. The third challenge is how to coordinate the plethora of institutions and agencies. You have customs, you have port health, you have trade, you have standards people, quality standards people, you have security people, you have immigration and customs people and everybody else. How to coordinate that and leave the traveler happy is a big issue for us, because the traveler wants to deal with government as one agency, as one entity, as opposed to the multiplicity. So there is multiplicity of inspections, authorizations, and this is something that going into the future we have to confront. And number four, because of the complexity of the security threats that we continue to face across the world, there is need for huge investments in border control technology. And for many countries, including countries that are fairly well off economically, managing borders in the light of modern threats requires huge resources, and not many countries are able to put together the kind of technology that is required for effective border control and management, including the virtual border that I talked about. All said and done, the traditional way of securing our territories will still remain to be relevant, and therefore the traditional security hardware will remain crucial for countries in the immediate future, even as we look at the changes that are driving us to looking at things differently. In this regard, I am pleased to report that the government of Kenya has made significant investments in equipping our security forces with the latest equipment, technology, and resources to combat threats to our national security. And this we are doing through the modernization of equipment of the National Police Service and also the National Intelligence Service, together with the Kenya Defense Forces, which are our organs of our national security. We are in a serious and deliberate modernization program to make sure that our police service, our intelligence service, and the Kenya Defense Forces have the latest equipment which are able to secure our borders. And we are also investing seriously in cyber security to make sure that our cyberspace as a country is also threats that we continue to face. Continue to allocate funds to support other agencies, including the immigration department or director. That equipment and technology helps us to control putting on more funds to make sure that we equip all our officers in all the agencies to confront the emerging security challenges effectively. And our ability to combat terrorism and criminal activities, but also we can effectively monitor and control our border, preventing illicit activities from crossing in. But for our neighboring countries and the world. Secure borders are there for travel, fostering closer ties with our neighbors and advancing regional integration efforts. We create an environment conducive to economic growth, job creation, and social development, benefiting Kenya as well as other countries. Ladies and gentlemen, central to our discussion, travel documents, visas, electronic travel advisor authorizations, ETAs, and so forth. Into the future, this space of border control is moving towards less of the management of the physical borders to more effort in the management of the virtual border, because that is where the threats are going to concentrate in the foreseeable future. And therefore, the border of the future is going to be secure but contactless, with less human interaction, but with a lot of security checks and controls. The use of technology, in particular digital technology, is going to become crucial for future border control and management. Future border control and management is going to be driven by data. And that is why big data is irrefutably one of the key drivers of the fourth industrial revolution. And therefore, in this space, data is going to be crucial. If you have the data, you are able to secure your territory. If you don't have the data, it doesn't matter the hardware and the human resources that you deploy. Without data, it's going to be very difficult to secure our countries and our world. I also foresee the increasing use of artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and other emerging technologies where border control and management is going to be shared between human interactions and the use of machines. The border of the future is also going to be a synergy, connection, and shared responsibilities between the public and private players. And therefore, this area, which has traditionally been government-driven, is going to be tempered or a bit influenced also by private sector, because of the increasing role of private players, not only in the whole space of human capital movement, trade, and so forth and so on. And also the increasing involvement of the private sector to provide border control solutions through public-private partnerships. And therefore, the private sector is going to have a seat on the table going forward in border control and management. And therefore, that is where we're moving to, from the physical to the virtual, more use of technology, the integration of emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and so forth, but also a private sector participation. Let me add that although we are investing in the manner in which I have said to secure our nation, it is important that we provide a culture, a security culture among our people, not just the people of Kenya, but the people of our different countries and the people of the world. The security will best be achieved when there's a culture of a security consciousness by the citizens of the world. Therefore, I would like to emphasize the importance of vigilance, patriotism among the people of our countries, and our collective security is not just the responsibility of law enforcement agencies, but it requires the active participation of every citizen. I urge each one of us to remain vigilant and to cooperate with law enforcement authorities to report crime at the border points or elsewhere in our territories, and let us stand united in our resolve to protect our countries and also to uphold the values that define us as proud Kenyans, proud citizens of the world, and proud citizens of the countries where we come from. And together we can build a safer, more secure future for the generations to come.